Welcome to the Friendly Podcast Guide, sorting through podcasts so you don't have to. I'm Andy Smiley, and I want to help you discover the right podcast without having to listen to an entire episode. Now, let's talk podcasts. Hi, everybody. It's my birthday month, and I am following the tradition of the Hobbits of Middle-earth and giving you all gifts for my birthday. This month, I'll be releasing 2 new episodes a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I hope you enjoy them. I love a good storytelling podcast that takes me on a journey that I'm excited to get back to, and Solar does exactly that. Jenny Curtis is one of the directors of Solar, and I loved hearing about her favorite characters of the show and why she enjoys making this kind of podcast. Before we learn more about how Solar was made, here's some details about the show. The show description is, Solar is a journey to the heart of the solar system and an exploration of the vastness of the human spirit. Disconnected from Earth and trapped on separate parts of their spacecraft, crew members must fight for survival following a disaster on board the ill-fated Aethon, a manned solar research probe sent to explore temporal distortion around the sun. As painful memories, forgotten dreams, technological challenges, and blunt realities collide, they must work together to keep their hope alive in the face of growing darkness. The length of each episode is about 40 minutes, with some episodes being as short as 3 minutes. This show has strong language, so keep that in mind if you want to listen to it around littles. It is a limited series with 29 episodes in total, and all of the episodes are available now. Before we learn more about the vibe of the show, we're going to take a quick break to talk about leaving a rating or review for the Friendly Podcast Guide. Would you rate and review the Friendly Podcast Guide as a gift to me for my birthday? The 2 main places to do that are on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It would mean so much to me if you could give me a positive review. I read every single one, and they all make my heart so happy. Now we get to hear from Jenny about making this audio drama during the pandemic. I am so excited to be talking to Jenny Curtis today. We get to talk about Solar, one of the podcasts that she works on, and I am so excited to hear how it all came to be. So first of all, Jenny, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Jenny Curtis. I'm like you said, a podcast producer with CurtCo Media. I'm also a director, an actor, a writer, name it. I've probably tried my hand on it. And that all came into play with Solar because Solar is a scripted audio drama that I directed along with the creator, Chris Porter. And I'm one of the voices in it and I produced it. And so basically I'm a crazy person who never stops working, but currently my passion is creating in the world of podcasts because it's been a lot of fun. So that's me.
I love pretty much all things podcasts. So that all sounds very lovely. Why did Solar come to be? What happened in the world to make Solar come into the universe?
So Chris Porter, who I just mentioned, and I actually worked together in a immersive theater company called the Speakeasy Society here in Los Angeles. And when CurtCo Media made the change to podcasting, Chris was top of mind for someone we wanted to work with. And Solar was sort of a foggy idea in his head of this pitch of what if there's this possible premise of a disaster in space. And he kind of pitched it to the company. And then a week later, he came back with a fully formed pitch that had many of the characters, many of the ideas. And we were like, great, let's go with that because CurtCo really wanted to make scripted podcasts, but had never done so. So it was a 2.5-year process of developing this show. And so it was a really intense experience with a show that is an incredibly intense experience on its own. It's a long-winded way of saying it came to be because at our heart, those of us who work at CurtCo are creatives who love telling stories, and audio drama is a really, really fun way to immersively tell a story.
Definitely. Truly, it is my favorite form of podcast. I love a storytelling podcast. I just love the escapism, but also I don't have to be reading a book. Like I can be doing other stuff at the same time. I just feel like it's the perfect balance.
It's
what
amazing. And we say this a lot of like, why tell a story in audio? It's because people's imaginations are like set on fire by like listening to a story. You're coming up with the visuals yourself and you're like seeing the movie because you're hearing it or whatever. But it's a very exciting medium. We like it a lot.
I love it. What do you want people to get out of Solar, the podcast?
I think when you make something, and this is coming from the brain of a creator who is myself, who is constantly in some kind of creative existential crisis. But when you make something, I think the only thing you can hope is that somebody gets something from it. I mean, anything. The fact that our story is out there and moving people in one way or another, whether it be an escape, like you just mentioned, from your reality while you're doing something, or a cathartic release because you're emotionally invested, or inspiration to make your own, or just the feeling of hope or of resilience or whatever it is from our story. Like anything you get from this story is a win for us, because I think that's the reason people make art, is they hope to affect people. So I hope people take something from it.
I think that's perfect because it's true. I feel like, especially when it's a scripted audio drama, I feel like there are so many different things you can take from it. I feel like we've kind of touched on it, but could you dive a little deeper on like the vibe of Solar?
Yes, the vibe of Solar. So it is, yeah, like you always said, it is a story that you can get lost in. I like to say it's darkly poetic and deeply hopeful. It's a sci-fi thriller. And so it's very exciting, but it is a character drama where you like really fall in love with these characters and you spend time with them and you get to know them. So I feel like it's a deep, dark drama with a whole lot of hope and a whole lot of mystery. And this might not fall under vibe, but we, using the buzzword of like 360-degree audio, it is an immersive event where if you're wearing your headphones, the sounds are happening, not just right and left or anything like that. They're happening all around you. We have, the AI of the ship placed above your head in some scenarios and placed down the hall in other scenarios. And you can do that in audio where, in the way we did it with these we used Dolby Atmos and a thing called Dear VR to mix the show. So it's truly a cinematic experience. So it feels like going to the movies in your ears.
That is absolutely wonderful. Oh, I love a well-produced show. I feel like it just, like, you get goosebumps every episode, it's just the best. Oh, I love that. Okay. So you said it's a character-based show, kind of. Who is your favorite character?
The thing about this story is that what I love about it is it's a real story about humanity, and people as a whole are deeply flawed, but they have worth anyway. So there's so many things to love about our characters. I can say selfishly, I'm the voice that I am in the show is the AI, the voice of the ship. And I love her. She is, she was such a challenge to figure out how to do this trope that is in sci-fi of having an AI, but not make her, I mean, for lack of a better term, tacky. I mean, I think sure. she has an arc and she has growth, but she's not, I can't explain it other than like, it's really well written and I had a blast playing her. And then there is another character, actually, now that I'm saying it, there is, I don't know if you've listened to much of the show, but there's a character that's referenced a lot. Her name is Chelsea. And she is our lead, Jamal's best friend, who he's left back on Earth. So she gets talked about a lot. She's barely in it. She leaves a few messages and we hear these monologues from her. And I will say those monologues we hear from her are two of the most powerful monologues that I think I've ever heard. And if I weren't playing Allie, like I almost was like, I don't want to play Allie. I want to just be this tiny little part of Chelsea because she's such a beautiful, like hopeful, genuine soul.
And I bet like next week you might have a different favorite. So
Oh, for sure. Next minute, I'll have another favorite.
I get that. Okay. Is it okay for little ears, or should moms and dads put headphones in?
It is not okay for little ears. We do have a warning up front in case people forget. We basically say we recommend over the age of 13, but again, that's up for your discretion. We use strong language because it's people fighting for survival in space, and we're going to let them swear if they want to.
Sure.
And by if they want to, I mean the writer wanted to, because he wrote the thing. But yeah, it's not safe for little ears.
Perfect. Well, that's the beauty of podcasts, right? You can just plug in or just wait until there aren't little ears that you don't want to hear those words around. Perfect. Is there anything that you want to add that we didn't touch on?
I just, I love the show so much. It means so much to me. And it has been such a joy getting feedback from people. Like, we've gotten feedback on like Twitter and people sending us messages that we don't know who have been affected by the show. So if anyone is listening and goes and listens to Solar, it's such a joy to hear your thoughts and feelings. And I don't mean like send me your compliments. I mean like your conspiracy theories about what could be what, or what you don't like. Just like I said before, affected in any way is what we're going for. So it's been a real joy to hear that people have been affected by the show.
Definitely. Well, and I feel like it's fun. It's fun when other people get excited about what you're excited about, right? And you're like, oh yeah, wouldn't that be cool if this happened? Or like some spinoff that you're like, ooh, I haven't thought about that yet. So yes, definitely. And where can people find Solar?
Solar is on, Solar, the show itself is on every every podcasting platform. So whatever you choose to listen to your podcast on, go on there and type in Solar. You can also go to solarthepodcast.com/listen. And there's kind of all those little buttons you can click to go find it. You can find Solar on social media at Solar the Podcast. Or you can send me a message and be like, I can't find Solar, and I'll send you a link.
Fabulous. I will put all of those links in the show notes so people can just jump wherever they want to go.
Much better. Yeah. It's better than like, go find Jenny somewhere. I don't know.
Well, fabulous. I cannot wait. I've started, but I have not finished yet. I haven't done that many dishes yet, but I'm really excited, and I'm really excited for my listeners to listen so that we can all just like talk about it and be excited about it.
And then send me what you guys talk about so I know.
Definitely. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you want to hear about more podcasts from me, please follow or subscribe on your podcast app of choice. Also, a friendly reminder to rate and review this podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Talk to you soon.